Me and my husband have been together for 15 years. 12 of those have been married. When we first met, we only dated 2 months before I became pregnant. During that quick dating stage, before I became pregnant, we were sexually intimate numerous times, and I would initiate on multiple occasions. After I became pregnant, it was kind of like the light switch flipped a little bit. Sex no longer interested me, and I didn't really care to be touched. This, over the years, became the number one issue in our marriage. I would start to feel pressured and would finally work myself up to having sex. During this time, on multiple occasions, I woke up to my sleep. The last instance happening 4 years ago, and I just want to know how I can work towards rebuilding that intimate relationship with him, and also gaining trust back with him, and just not feeling like I have to work myself up to be intimate with my husband.
Well, I guess I'll start with the big rocks here. That's rape, hon.
Yeah. And that's,
Hold on.
I do go see.
Just sit with that for a second. That's a huge, big deal.
Yeah.
And you not being interested in sex, you not feeling like being touched, you struggling with your own thoughts and feelings and body, none of that.
Bible says, test every spirit. You better test it. You can't just believe everything that's coming out the person's mouth. You got to test it. I'm not saying you go in there cynical. Don't be no cynic. But can I test it? Let me get some questions. I don't think this man asked no question. That man, he asked some questions after he done made his determination. He done made a statement before he even asked any questions. I think he did. I think he didn't ask no question. She made her statements. She said what she said. Now, she didn't. I'll come back and correct her. But she said what she said. I put a little highlighter in here. She said what she said. And then he came out with a very big, bold, red flag statement.
Well, I guess I'll start with the big rocks here. That's rape, hon.
But anyway, let's not go there yet. So anyway, you got to test the spirits. And like I said, a good way to test the spirit is through the Bible, through the word. What happened with the devil when he was trying to test Jesus? Jesus spit back the word of God at him. They testing you. They lining you up. They assessing you. They trying to see what they can get. I'm going to come back to this later, why this is important. There was a case. It was Washington State versus Fields. And in this case, they had a scenario, and y'all are kind of going to see where I'm going, where the wife of the man, it was a similar scenario, where she was able to entrap him. Now, did she purposely try to trap him? I think so. She was recording a session. Between her counselor or psychologist without his consent. Talking about consent. And she got some things on record and then used that recording to later go after this man. And then an appeals court got involved. I ain't gonna go into the decision, but I'm just saying, an appeals court got involved in that thing. Because, listen, that appeals court is testing, they testing every spirit. Why are we as Christians not being wise and testing every spirit? We need test. What's really going on here? You first call me because you want to improve your intimacy. You admit that you starved your husband for a long time after you got pregnant. And then you want to revert back to something happened 4 years ago, even though that didn't have nothing to do with you shutting down intimacy and sex with your husband. You wanted to bring that up and bring that scenario up about that he exed you while you were sleeping. How'd you do that? See, that needs to be the first question. What does that have to do with this? See, that'd be the first. What? Because I want to make sure I understand. Tell me what that has to do with this, because you already said that you were already shutting it down. Now, she would have come back and said, well, because I'm trying to improve my intimacy, because I keep on thinking about that situation. Well, the next question is, were you thinking about that scenario when you shut it down in the first place? How is this all of a sudden? And then also, have you talked about, now he did go into this later, asking has she talked to her husband about this in detail, which Delani said, because it could blow your mind. It might not. I don't know. Maybe that's what you could put in the comment. Did it blow your mind or did it not? Did it surprise you? Were you surprised by what he said, or were you like, oh, hey, do it? I want to know. I'm just curious. But anyway, I would be asking some questions. I'm gonna bet you. I'm gonna test every spirit, because I need to understand. I need to be quick to hear, not to speak. That's what that verse means. Can you please understand what's going on first before you start? Pray. You already didn't pray, but can you at least do what the Bible says and just wait a minute? What is this person really saying? Let me ask some questions. But there's some questions that need to be asked in this. And he did not do that.